At midnight, when the world is silent, when even shadows seem to hold their breath, there is an incense that the fearful whisper about. It is not feared because it harms. It is feared because it reveals, because it breaks chains that others want to keep bound. Burn this incense, and in moments you will feel the weight of curses dissolve. The grip of poverty loosen, the cloud of witchcraft scatter like smoke in the wind. Incense has always been more than fragrance. It is breath transformed into fire, fire transformed into smoke, smoke transformed into spirit. When burned with intention, it carries prayer beyond walls, beyond barriers. It cleanses not only the air, but the unseen fields around you. The most feared incense does this with intensity. It moves quickly, decisively, cutting through what has been hidden, tearing apart what has been tied against you. Those who weave curses rely on secrecy. They tie knots where you cannot see. They plant obstacles where you cannot trace. They darken the path before you without leaving footprints. But smoke does not ask permission. It travels everywhere. It enters corners, cracks, hidden spaces. Burn this incense at midnight, and the smoke will search for what was placed against you. It will expose it, weaken it, and consume it until nothing remains but clarity. Poverty is not always born of laziness or chance. Often it is a binding, a weight placed on a family, a chain tied around opportunity, an unseen barrier that pushes prosperity away no matter how hard you work. When the incense burns, the smoke carries fire into those bindings. It loosens the knots, it melts the chains, it breaks the hidden contracts that poverty feeds on. In minutes, the energy shifts. The doors long shut begin to open, the heaviness lifts. This incense is feared because it cannot be controlled. Those who send harm know its power. They know that once it is burned, their work unravels. This is why they whisper against it, why they tell you not to use it, why they surround it with fear. But the truth is simple: the fear belongs to those who harm, not to those who seek freedom. For the one who lights it with pure intention, the fear turns into strength. The smoke becomes protection, the night becomes an ally. At midnight, when the world sleeps, light this incense. Watch the smoke rise. Let it move where you cannot. Let it cleanse what your hands cannot touch. In 3 minutes, the unseen shifts. Witchcraft falls apart. Curses dissolve. Poverty breaks. And you stand in a space made new, your spirit lighter, your path clear, your future unchained. The most feared incense breaks curses, witchcraft, and poverty chains quickly. There are many ways that people try to defend themselves from unseen harm, but few are direct and immediate. Words may be spoken, rituals may be performed, prayers may be offered, yet often they require time, repetition, or external support. The incense that is feared carries a different quality. It does not wait, it does not ask. It works swiftly, cutting through layers of darkness that have taken years to form. This is why it is feared, not by those who seek protection, but by those who send harm. Curses are not always loud or visible. They may not look like anything more than constant misfortune, repeated failure, or sickness without explanation. A curse is a disruption of natural flow, a deliberate knot tied into the fabric of your life. It may cause your steps to stumble, your mind to cloud, your heart to despair. Witchcraft operates in the same way, manipulating what should be free and bending it toward imbalance. Poverty, too, can be more than lack of money. It can be a curse, a weight placed upon a family, a cycle that continues even when effort is made to escape. These are chains, and chains must be broken. The incense is feared because it directly attacks these chains. As soon as it burns, the smoke begins to move, and with each curl rising into the air, the vibration shifts. It seeks out the knots of curses, the webs of witchcraft, the chains of poverty, and it does not hesitate. Where other methods may push against the surface, this incense pierces deeply. It reaches what has been hidden. It finds what has been buried. It confronts what has been tied against you. And in moments, the structure begins to fall apart. Those who practice harm know this. They build their work in secrecy, in silence, in shadows. They rely on the fact that their knots will remain unseen, their traps unnoticed. But smoke does not respect hiding places. It seeps into every corner. It passes through every barrier. It reveals what is concealed. A curse may hide in the words once spoken. A spell may hide in an object once placed. Poverty may hide in ancestral ties, but none of these can withstand the directness of this incense. Once it begins to burn, their foundations weaken. Their bindings loosen. Their presence dissolves. The reason it works so quickly is because it does not fight on the level of form, but on the level of energy. Chains are energy, not iron. Knots are energy, not rope. Barriers are energy, not walls. Smoke itself is energy made visible, the transformation of matter into spirit. When infused with intention and the strength of this incense, it carries a sharpness that cuts through what the eye cannot see. It is feared because it works where most cannot. Imagine years of misfortune being undone in moments. Imagine a cycle of struggle beginning to crack open after a few minutes of smoke. Imagine the weight of curses lifting, not after weeks of searching, but within the silence of a single midnight ritual. This is why the incense is feared. Those who send harm lose their power over you the moment it is lit. The chains they forged with effort and malice dissolve in a matter of breaths. The curse that was meant to last years collapses in minutes. Fear has always belonged to those who weave darkness, not to those who seek freedom. To the one who carries malice, the smoke is unbearable. To the one who carries envy, the scent is torment. To the one who binds others, the rising incense is destruction. But to the one who seeks protection, it is relief. To the one who suffers, it is release. To the one who struggles, it is liberation. The same fire that terrifies those who harm empowers those who are harmed. The chains of poverty deserve equal attention. Too often, people believe that poverty is only financial, only circumstance. But many times, it is a curse that travels through generations, a weight tied to ancestors, a binding place to keep doors closed no matter how much effort is made to open them. This incense burns into those bonds as well. Its smoke untears the ancestral knots, dissolves the hidden contracts, and opens a space for prosperity to flow. Where once opportunities turned away, they begin to turn toward you. Where once the flow of abundance was blocked, it begins to move again. The most feared incense is not feared because it harms the innocent. It is feared because it restores balance quickly, and those who thrive on imbalance lose their grip. Every curse, every act of witchcraft, every poverty chain exists because it was designed to be hidden and enduring. This incense breaks both of those qualities. It exposes and it ends. It does not prolong the battle. It ends it in moments. Smoke travels into hidden spaces, exposing and consuming harmful energy. It is one of the most mysterious and yet most natural forces you can witness. When incense burns, the transformation of solid into air takes place before your eyes. Matter becomes spirit. What was once bound to form rises unbound, seeking movement. Smoke never remains still. It enters where breath flows, where cracks allow passage, where barriers fail to contain it. And this is the secret of its power. Nothing can hide from smoke. Harmful energy depends on concealment. Curses are tied in silence. Spells are woven in shadows. Negative intention is planted in unseen corners. Their strength lies in remaining unnoticed, in blending into the ordinary. A room may appear clean while carrying heaviness. An object may look harmless while holding malice. A corner may be still while anchoring stagnation. These energies grow stronger the longer they remain hidden. But smoke is relentless. It moves where eyes do not see. It reveals what tries to stay concealed. When smoke travels, it does not ask for permission. It passes through cloth, wood, and stone. It moves under doors and into sealed spaces. No barrier can hold it back. Where it goes, it carries fire's transformation with it. What was once dense becomes light. What was once trapped begins to move. Harmful energy cannot resist movement because its power is rooted in stillness and secrecy. When smoke enters, that secrecy is broken, and the energy loses its strength. Think of a room that has not been opened for years. The air becomes stale, the atmosphere heavy. Simply opening the door and letting smoke drift through shifts the entire space. The corners that gathered dust and silence are suddenly stirred. The heaviness begins to lift and clarity returns. This same principle applies not only to physical stillness, but to energetic stillness. A curse hidden in an object is like dust sealed in a drawer. Smoke finds it. A knot of witchcraft tied into a room is like stagnant air behind a closed window. Smoke enters it and the air shifts. The consuming nature of smoke comes from fire. Fire transforms everything it touches. It does not allow what is heavy to remain as it was. It changes it, reduces it, purifies it. Smoke carries the same force, but in a form that can travel freely. While fire consumes directly, smoke consumes indirectly, entering hidden spaces that fire cannot. Where fire is destructive to form, smoke is destructive to energy. It burns what cannot be seen. This is why burning incense at midnight is so powerful. At that hour, the silence is deep, distractions are fewer, and the movement of energy is more visible. The smoke rises into a world that is already quiet, already still, making its presence even more commanding. Every place it reaches becomes awakened, stirred, exposed. No hidden pocket of harmful energy can remain untouched. The very act of watching smoke move reminds you that nothing remains concealed forever. Those who send curses understand this danger. They place their intentions in hidden ways, knowing that most people will never search for them, never notice them, never cleanse them. But they cannot stop smoke. It enters without invitation. It reveals what was planted. It consumes the intention and leaves only ash behind. This is why incense has been used for thousands of years in every culture, not for fragrance alone, but because it transforms what cannot be seen into what can be felt. Even within your own mind and spirit, smoke has its work. Thoughts that weigh you down, emotions that stagnate, memories that anchor you in heaviness, all of them are like hidden spaces inside. When smoke surrounds you, when you breathe it, when you allow it to drift around your body, you sense the same shift. What was stuck begins to move. What was clouded begins to clear. The energy that consumed you is itself consumed. You become lighter because the hidden heaviness is burned away. Smoke is a messenger as well as a purifier. As it rises, it carries intention. When you burn incense with the purpose of clearing curses, removing witchcraft, breaking poverty chains, that intention attaches to the smoke. The smoke carries it into every hidden place, far beyond where your hands or eyes can reach. The energy of your prayer, your focus, your command rides the smoke, entering every corner, revealing every secret, consuming every obstacle. This is why smoke has always been treated as sacred. It is not simply air filled with scent. It is the spirit of fire made visible, moving freely, carrying transformation wherever it goes. Those who understand it do not fear it. They respect it, they use it wisely. They allow it to do what cannot be done by force. Those who weave harm fear it deeply, because they know that no matter how carefully they hide their work, smoke will find it. Smoke travels into hidden spaces, exposing and consuming harmful energy. It works not by force but by presence, not by destruction of form but by purification of essence. Its very nature is movement, and where movement exists, no darkness can remain concealed. Poverty can be a binding of unseen chains, not just circumstance. Most people think of poverty as a lack of money, a lack of opportunity, or a lack of resources. They measure it in material terms, in numbers, in possessions. But the truth is deeper. Poverty is often a weight that has been tied around the spirit, an invisible bond that restricts flow, a chain that holds back abundance even when effort is made. It can appear as financial struggle, but its root may not be financial at all. Its root may be energetic, ancestral, or spiritual. When you see someone working hard, yet always remaining in the same place, when you see doors close every time they are about to open, when opportunities vanish just before they arrive, you are not witnessing coincidence. You are witnessing the effect of a chain that has been tied. Sometimes these chains are placed by others who wish to see failure. Sometimes they are inherited, passed down through generations as unbroken cycles. And sometimes they are built within, through repeated fear, doubt, and self-sabotage. Poverty is not only lack, it is restriction. Chains operate by holding something in place. A person bound by chains may be strong, determined, and ready to move forward, but the chains drag them back. In the same way, poverty chains drag prosperity away. They make money slip from your hands as quickly as it comes. They create emergencies that consume savings. They generate conflict that interrupts progress. They attract betrayal in partnerships and instability in opportunities. You may blame the world, but the real prison is unseen. Breaking these chains requires more than physical effort. Hard work alone does not untie what was tied in silence. Education alone does not erase what was bound in spirit. Strategy alone does not break what was placed in shadow. What is tied energetically must be broken energetically. This is where sacred practices, like incense burning, cleansing rituals, and spiritual alignment hold power. They reach where ordinary effort cannot. They burn into the invisible cords and dissolve them, making way for prosperity to flow naturally. Consider how water behaves. When a river is blocked by rocks or debris, no matter how much rain falls, the water cannot flow freely. It pools, it stagnates, it overflows in harmful ways. But when the blockage is removed, the river moves smoothly, carrying life wherever it goes. Poverty chains are like those blockages. The abundance of the universe is always present, but the chains restrict its flow into your life. When they are broken, prosperity does not need to be forced. It comes naturally, like water moving downstream. Ancestral poverty is one of the heaviest forms of these chains. Families may carry patterns of lack that repeat generation after generation. The great-grandparents struggled, the grandparents struggled, the parents struggled, and the children inherit the same weight. The external world changes, but the pattern remains. This is because the chain was tied long ago and has never been broken. Such chains may come from curses spoken over a family, debts left unresolved, or energies bound by jealousy and envy. They may even come from agreements made in desperation, binding future generations to cycles of struggle. But just as chains can be tied, they can also be broken. The act of burning incense with clear intention is one way to dissolve these bindings. The smoke moves where the chain lies. It consumes the knots. It transforms the heavy energy into something lighter. The very act of acknowledging that poverty is not only material but spiritual begins the process of release. Awareness weakens the chain. Action breaks it. There is also the poverty that comes from within. When a person believes they are unworthy of wealth, when they fear abundance, when they carry guilt for desiring more, they create chains around themselves. These inner chains can be as strong as those placed from outside. Self-sabotage is a curse spoken by one's own mind. Limiting beliefs are knots tied by one's own hand. Fear of success is a prison built by one's own thoughts. But just like external chains, these can be broken through practice, through cleansing, through transformation of energy. When incense burns, it does more than cleanse a room. It cleanses the mind, the spirit, the field of energy that surrounds a person. It creates space where heaviness once was. It makes it possible to release fear, to untie inner knots, to let go of inherited patterns. Poverty then shifts from being an unbreakable fate to a temporary challenge. The chains lose their strength, and the individual is no longer bound. Poverty is not just about coins and bills. It is about freedom or bondage. It is about movement or restriction. It is about chains or release. When understood this way, the path to breaking it becomes clearer. You do not only need to change your circumstances, you need to untie the chains. Only then can wealth, opportunity, and abundance move toward you without resistance. At midnight, burning with pure intention transforms fear into strength and protection. Midnight is the turning point of the day, the moment when darkness is deepest, when silence is heaviest, when the unseen feels closest. It is the hour many people fear because shadows seem stronger, noise is sharper, and solitude more overwhelming. But what most overlook is that midnight is not only the peak of darkness, it is also the threshold of renewal. It is the moment just before the tide begins to shift, when what is hidden can be revealed, when what is bound can be undone. To burn incense at this hour is to align with a natural power, and when intention is pure, that power works swiftly. Fear has always been strongest in the night. It grows in silence, in emptiness, in uncertainty. Fear feeds on what you cannot see. At midnight, the mind projects possibilities into the darkness, creating images of harm and danger. But when incense is lit in this moment, the smoke rising through the still air changes the atmosphere. The same darkness that fed fear now carries transformation. The same silence that felt heavy now holds space for release. Intention rides upon the smoke, and the fear that once filled the room begins to dissolve. The key lies in purity of intention. Fire itself is neutral. Smoke itself is neutral. What gives them direction is the thought and will placed into them. To burn incense casually at midnight may calm the air, but to burn it with a focused heart, with the clear intention of turning fear into strength, awakens its deeper force. Energy responds to direction. A mind that is scattered cannot command smoke, but a mind that is centered and sincere makes every movement of smoke a carrier of transformation. Fear is not meant to remain forever. It is a signal, a shadow, a passing storm. Yet many hold on to it so tightly that it becomes a permanent companion. Fear of curses, fear of witchcraft, fear of poverty, fear of betrayal. These fears become chains heavier than the things they describe. To burn incense at midnight with pure intention is to confront fear at its peak and instead of running, to stand in the presence of it. The smoke then becomes your ally, surrounding you, lifting you, carrying your fear away as it rises into the unseen. Strength is not born in the absence of fear, but in the transformation of fear. When you face fear and do not let it control you, you turn it into energy. Burning incense at midnight symbolizes this truth. You take what most people avoid, the darkest hour, and you use it as a moment of power. You take what most people see as weakness, fear, and you convert it into protection. The very act of lighting the incense declares that you are no longer running. You are no longer hiding. You are meeting the darkness with fire. Protection arises naturally from this act. Smoke does not simply carry intention outward. It forms a shield around you. It moves around your body, around your room, filling the spaces where fear once lingered. Fear has no ground to stand on when smoke fills the air with clarity and purpose. The shield is not just external but internal. You feel lighter, calmer, steadier. The thoughts that once trembled in fear become thoughts that stand firm. The emotions that once sank in dread rise into confidence. The spirit that once felt threatened becomes anchored and safe. Midnight amplifies this effect. During the day, energy is scattered. People move. Sounds echo, light distracts. At midnight, the world is still. Energy is concentrated. Your focus is sharper. Your intention has no competition. This is why rituals at this hour are so powerful. The mind can enter silence more easily, the heart can focus more purely, and the smoke carries your will with greater strength. What you release is released fully. What you invite is invited deeply. Pure intention is the difference between fear lingering and fear transforming. If you burn incense at midnight with doubt in your heart, the smoke reflects that uncertainty.